We're going live. Ooh, almost. We're good? All right. Okay. Make sure everybody can hear me. We'll call the LaGrange County Plan Commission the February 10th, 2026 meeting to order. Could I have a roll call, please?
Glenn,
I'm here.
Zach,
Here.
Kevin,
Here.
Ethan,
Here.
Shannon,
Here.
Paul,
Here.
Tyler.
Here.
All right, we will have invitation for public comment on the non-public hearing items this evening. Are there any additions or corrections to the agenda?
No, as presented.
I thought there might be one. Is the PUD going to be one lot or two? I think 2 lots or 3 lots?
It's 3 parcels.
Oh, it is? Okay.
3 parcels to begin with. And 2 lots. Lot 1, lot 2,
Okay, so that would be a correction.
lot 2.
I'm sorry, I didn't call that one in. Anyway, with that, I would make a motion to adopt the amended agenda.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oh, same sign. Motion carries. Minutes of the previous meeting.
If there are no additions or corrections, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oh, same sign. Motion carries. First thing we have under new business this evening, I guess, early evening, is a rezone. This is a public hearing. Anybody supporting the rezone will have 15 minutes to tell us why that property needs to be, they believe the property should be rezoned. Anybody remonstrating will have, or against the rezone, will also have 15 minutes to tell us why they don't think it should be rezoned. And then the petitioner will have 5 minutes to answer any questions brought up by the remonstrators. Can everybody hear me? Okay, very good. Let's go.
All right, the first one on the agenda is 25R17, and we're in Lima Township, Section 13, Township 38 North, Range 9 East. It's zoned B3. It's located just across the road or west of 7325 North State Road 9 House. Application is to rezone approximately 8.41 acres from B3 Highway Business District to I1 Light Industrial Zoning District. Here's the parcel that we propose to be rezoned. It's just north of the sewer treatment plant up there in the house. A representative here. You
Yes.
come up to the podium, give us your name and address, sign in on the sheet, and tell us why you want it to be rezoned.
Okay, sure. So first, I wanted to thank you guys for arranging this. This has been a long time in the.
You have to give us your name and
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Jonathan Dinsmore. And I am at 706 South Street in Howe, Indiana. Next, Robbie.
address.
Okay. And I just wanted to thank you guys for considering our petition to rezone this parcel. We are a tool and die company. We manufacture stamping dies, very high speed, close tolerance dies that form different metals into different parts. Take, for example, a soda can top. We make dies that stamp out those can tops. The tolerances on the flaps are 2/millionths of an inch. So it's a very precise trade. We want to expand our operation, which is in Howe, just north of the Farmer State Bank. because frankly, we're outgrowing it. Some of our equipment comes from international suppliers, some in Japan, some in China, some in Europe, and the tariffs are detrimental to our cash flow. So we would like to bring more of the manufacturing and assembly into the United States and mitigate those tariff expenses to us and to our customers. And I believe that when this facility, which if you can imagine a football field, 150 feet wide, 300 feet long, in the screen that Robbie is showing here, it would be on the lower segment of the parcel to stay out of any kind of wetlands or flood zones, because we don't need that kind of insurance hassle. About 25 feet tall, a very quiet operation, no chemical effluents. We make scrap steel that goes down to Kendallville and aluminum and things like that, but we don't use any harsh chemicals. And the few chemicals that we do use, we contract with Safety Clean to dispose of, or whatever they do with it, clean it and resell it, reuse it. Not very noisy. We're thinking for the initial go to have a single shift with up to 20 employees initially. I don't foresee growing beyond that in the first probably 5 years. Maybe growing the head count, but not the shift. If there is a second shift, it'll probably be just for maintenance purposes of our equipment, CNC machining centers and lathes and things that we use to make the parts that we need. So not a lot of noise, not a lot of disruption to the community that's around. No threat to the environment that I can think of, although we'll have to do that, I'm sure, to get a building permit. And so for those reasons, and we'd like to stay in this area, and we would like something that, because our equipment, the equipment that we make, for example, tomorrow morning, a truck will come by and pick up a crate that weighs about 12,000 pounds. And so it's not something you can just put in the bed of a pickup truck. So we need that proximity for our business and our customers to the toll road, because that gives us, we're nationwide. We have customers Canada through Mexico. So we need that kind of proximity to transportation routes. So that's why we're requesting to go from currently B3 to I1. And we think this parcel is the correct place to do it, given the nearby activities. So thank you. Be happy to respond to any questions when that's appropriate.
Okay, thank you very much. Go ahead and have a seat. Is there anybody else here this evening who would like to speak in favor of this rezone? Is it in favor or against?
In favor.
In favor. We'll go right ahead. Come on up. That's a price.
I'm Richard Frischkorn at 7320 North State Road 9, and I'm right next door to this property. So Mr. Dinsmore and I have had some discussions about the use of the property. And first of all, I'd like to say I'm very much in favor of developing this kind of industry here. These are good jobs, well-paying jobs, high-quality jobs. And there's something that we should be proud of in this county to be able to promote and take care of. So that's my opinion on the facility. The other opinion on the facility is that he and I went through his plot plan in some detail. And I intend to enter into an agreement to buy a chunk of his grassland that he's not going to be using, and put it next to my property and make a B3 zoning out of that. It's approximately 2 acres. It's 150 feet wide, starting at State Road 9 into the river. So that's my view of what's happening and what I see as the next step. I'll probably be back here sometime talking about zoning. So I'm not in a hurry. I just want this thing to succeed and to go as smoothly as possible. So thank you.
Just to clarify, you want to buy some property and change it back to a B3?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Another day. All right. Is there anybody else this evening who would like to speak in favor of this rezone? All right. Is there anybody here this evening who would like to speak against the rezone? Okay.
All right, I'm not good at speaking. Okay, so my name is Cindy Wysack. I live at 7065 North, 020 West. I'm like I will be directly behind it in the little islandy cove there on the other side. So these are my concerns. I just made a list. I'm not good at, like I said, I'm not good at speaking. So my concerns are, number one, the noise, pollution, and the lights. Are they going to have big, tall lights that are going to be blinding my backyard that I've invested in? Everything I have that I own is in that house. And the potential environmental hazards like air and water quality, and the diminished residential property values. Lots of homes, there's a lot of really nice homes behind there. And industrial zoning, it decreases property values. And the trucks, and are the trucks going to be coming in and out continuously? I mean, I've got there's, like I said, I've got kids there, and there's just a lot of nice houses back there. And to be looking at the back of a factory with a parking lot, I didn't buy it for that reason. And let's see here. And there's already 9 has got, especially at 700 there's a lot of heavy traffic. Sometimes it's really hard at certain times of the day and night to pull out of there. And so I'm wondering, are they going to put a traffic light up there, so that if there's a lot of stuff coming out of the factory, so many people get rear-ended at that particular intersection? And let's see here. So for privacy's sake, are they going to put extra trees in the back? I mean, there's trees there now, but they're very sparse. And as the years go by, they're getting sparser and sparser and sparser. So it's I don't want to stare at it. That's not why I moved here, was to stare at a parking lot. And so, and like I said, the existing trees do not supply ample coverage. And quality of life, the noise, the odor, and light pollution affecting our daily living. So anyway, that's it. That's all I got, guys. But I really would prefer this didn't go on and change the zoning. It wasn't zoned for that to begin with. Everything else around there is agricultural. And if you drive up and down 9, and there are other factories there, but if you look at the vicinity of there's no houses behind them. There's no houses really around any of the other factories. So, all right, I'm done. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to speak against this rezone? Come on up.
Hello, everybody. My name is Cole Carlson. Live at 5815 East State Road 120. In 2025, I purchased the land directly across from where this building is being placed. As far as I'd say, it's going to be a bit of an eyesore. Lovely deer run across there. I'm not opposed to a factory being put up there for jobs in the community, but the main factor is just preferably if a tree line would be put up for a better view. You don't want to be staring at a great I forgot how many square footage the building is going to be, but the tree line would be put up. That would be greatly appreciated. And, or if reconstructing when they're moving the land out, if they would build a berm on the backside of the river, just so you're not staring at a building. And I was curious if the building is going to be operated 24 hours a day, because the parking lot, if it's going to be lit up, don't want to be staring at a light out your back door. Just that's where I'm at with it, but not opposed to not proceeding. That's it.
Could you clarify where your property
Right
was
there.
purchased?
Directly across the parcel.
That's right here.
Sorry, I don't have it.
To the west. To the west?
Yes.
Yes,
It's the wooded area with the river going through
the
it.
wooded area across the river.
Okay.
Has the octo right here.
Yes, I got it. What's that zone? Oh, that's Ag2.
That's it.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Anybody else would like to speak against this variance? Excuse me, not variance. It's rezone. So the petitioner would have some 5 minutes to speak to noise, pollution, light, environmental, property values, traffic, landscaping. Yes. Or however long it takes.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, again, I'm John Dinsmore at 706 South Street, the petitioner for this. Let's see. First, I have to acknowledge both of your concerns, for sure.
Sir, you can address the board.
Yes. Well, I will address the board, but I wanted to acknowledge their concerns. They're legitimate, and I would, I would have the same. So, oh gosh, Cindy, I wish I had your notes up here. So the first concern was?
Noise.
Noise. So, right, we do make noise, but I think the noisiest thing we have is an air compressor, which if you're standing on South Street, you can't even hear. We have it enclosed in a little lean-to. Mostly, well, not mostly, but yeah, the neighborhood's concerned, but also ours, because we don't want to blast our ears out with noise. Our machining centers and grinders and things like that. I'm sure OSHA would not appreciate it, but we often don't wear even ear protection. So yeah, please, well, it's a matter of public record now, so. Even though we do.
It's on tape, actually.
We do have PPE
On
requirements
YouTube.
around the shop, but the point is, we don't make a lot of noise. And I appreciate that concern. Again, I don't think light was a concern. We don't intend to run multiple shifts. If we do, the second shift would be maintenance only. I wish I had brought with you, an architect has given us an initial site plan. I could share it with you if I could, but you guys probably, so the southern part, so imagine from Mr. Frischkorn's B3 line to the north, 150 feet south, goes, has an option to Mr. Frischkorn. The remainder, there's a parking lot to the south by the plant, which I think would mitigate any light pollution if we even have lights in our parking lot, which we currently don't. We do intend to landscape, which is a visual concern. I get that. Both, well, actually to the north, and to be honest with you, we've been joking in the shop about, creating a little dock and fishing thing for our guys to take a break and even have a rope swing. So we want to have a nice, I'm serious, guys. We want to have a nice place for our people to work too. If it takes trees to mitigate views, which I understand, we are in favor of that. The last thing that I want personally is our neighbors that don't appreciate our existence. And what we bring to the community. And I'm okay. I'm not here to, I just want you to know that we'll mitigate the visuals. And I don't think noise is an issue. I don't think light's going to be an issue. There was an environmental concern, hazards, right? We don't
Yes.
use chemicals that can't be reclaimed by Safety Clean, which they have a very good record of taking care of. We certainly don't spill anything. The only, and we don't keep things outside of the building. All of our recyclables, we store it under roof before we transport them to Kendallville for recycling. You could drive by our place up in just north of Farmer State Bank in Howe. You'll see we keep our property very clean and neat and tidy, which I would expect we would do here. And is there any other?
Traffic.
Traffic, yes, good point. No, we are not a high volume business. I mentioned that we have 2 crates going out tomorrow. They will be the second delivery of the year. They will require trucks, flatbeds, or Conestogas, because these things are large and heavy, but they're not frequent. As to whether or not the state will require a turnout lane, we only want one access to Highway 9. I don't know. I imagine they will, and so hopefully that will mitigate any traffic concerns, or I'm sure the state will have some view as to how to keep that access to Highway 9 safe. And obviously we need to comply with that because they are the ones that are going to permit that. So hopefully that will be taken care of. And it will only be access to the parcel to and from Highway 9. There won't be any side access or back access or anything other than our fishing dock and our rope swing. And I'm serious about that. I know it seems kind of funny, but it's true. And the last, is there any other concern?
Landscaping, but you had mentioned that you'll have, and the site plan requirement will have landscaping in it.
You bet.
Yes.
You bet. I mean, this, I know what the rough budget is for me to stand up this facility. It has money, plenty of money for, landscaping, arborvitaes that grow nice and tall and will block. Can't do much about the deer, but I can say that the top 150 feet of that, which is close to where you are, it will really be up to Mr. Frischkorn, but I believe our conversations have indicated it's mostly going to be fallow. So we'll still have wildlife there, which we want to. And there's quite a lot of property that's in a flood zone and in towards the west, and in a wetland, and we're not going to touch that because we don't. That's just a whole series of aggravations we don't need to deal with right now. We're in business for a different reason. So there's going to be a lot of untouched land for vermin and deer and things like that. And since I kind of know you outside of this room, you'd certainly be welcome to come over, and to the extent that the hunting law is permitted in Indiana, because I don't know them here. Hunt and fish are what's left of, yeah. But we are having an architect put together the building, so this is not going to be a blue box. This is going to be something that I pointed out Lund, for example, when the architect came by a few weeks ago. And I said, that's more like where we're going. I want something nice that's appealing from the road because it's customer appealing. And I took him up to a development in Sturgis on Bojan Road, and I said, that is not what we want. So we're not going that direction. And that'll be borne out in the site plan, and you guys can hold my feet to that one. Yeah. So I think that's, if there's anything else, I'd be happy to
I think
respond.
you've addressed all the things that were brought up. Thank you very much.
Okay.
This facility will have access to sewer and water.
Oh, yes, I hope so.
Okay. I mean, I don't know if you had any type of talks with the LCRUD or the water tower people
No.
that, no? Okay.
Our property is currently on the Elk Crud system, and I just, I guess I assumed that we would somehow patch into it there as well. That wasn't really an option to not be on Elk Crud. Yeah, so I expect to patch into that there. As well as the power and the gas that are coming on the east side of the property along Highway 9.
How many current employees do you have at your,
8.
8.
We have 8 currently. 2 are part-time. And I foresee that going to 20
what's your square footage at your current place?
is about 7,000 square feet.
What's the
And-
planned square footage at this facility?
That's a good question. So it's 2 phases, sorry. Currently, the first phase would be about 30,000 square feet. And the second phase, if it comes to that, will be 15,000 square feet. And that would be to the south towards the sewer treatment plant on the west side of the property, but not encroaching on the wetlands or the flood zone. So it won't go towards the north. And actually it won't go, we don't want to go into the flood zones. I don't know if you can show that, Bobby, but it's pretty significant amount of that parcel.
We don't have a picture of it on here.
I don't. Okay, well, there's a lot of land that's not going to be developed because of that flood zone and because we don't want to deal with flood. But 30 and 45, 30 to finished size, if it gets to that, would be 45,000 square feet. So smaller than the Lund facility to the east, but larger than Bob the Butcher's to the south.
I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing, and we can ask more questions as necessary. Okay. All right.
Is this not currently a permitted use in B3, or I guess I'm missing the one of the rezone?
Yeah, it needs to be in an industrial zone.
To be permitted use.
Correct.
Should the facility on the east side be I-1?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I don't know how it got in on B3.
So that's Lund.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, that should, yes, it should be.
And they did a rezone on the sewer plant. That's how the sewer plant got in.
Anybody else have any questions or concerns?
I just want to make a comment. This State Road 9 corridor has been begging for something like this. Just in the very recent past, we've had discussion about land use on State Road 9. This is a dream of what could go in to help LaGrange County. We've got, 6 full-time employees. He's discussed having up to 20 on a state highway, on the 9 corridor, close to the toll road. Mr. Dinsmore mentioned bringing jobs, creating more jobs in the States. And it's just, I think this is a fantastic idea for LaGrange County.
Anybody else have any comments or concerns?
I applaud you for wanting to stay local.
Yeah, indeed.
I'll go ahead and make a motion to send this to the commissioners with a favorable recommendation.
Second.
Any further discussion? Let's go ahead and vote.
Lynn,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
Zach,
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
Ethan,
Yes.
Shannon,
Yes.
and Paul.
Yes.
The rezone has been approved. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Oh, excuse me.
It's at the
Sent to
commission.
the commissioners. I hope they approve it.
I hope so too.
Okay.
But I appreciate the diligence, for sure. You guys are all welcome to go see the facility that we currently operate.
Sounds cool to me. Move on. Yep.
Next one on the agenda is 26.
I'm sober and everything. I don't know what's happening. Sorry.
That's what I'm concerned.
Is located at 2365 South, 1100 West.
Maybe I should be sober. Maybe that would be better.
Application is for a proposed planning development for approximately 23 acres consisting of 2 lots and mixed use. Here's our proposed development. We have a representative.
Good evening, Scott Ziegler and Clayton Evans with Hand of the Plow Surveying, 5678 West, 350 South, Albion, Indiana. Henry and Richard are here. Yeah, Henry and Richard are both here tonight with R.H. Yoder. So we have an existing business here. Clayton or those, they can tell you more of the details on how long it's been there, but existing business, large facility there. I think multiple expansions. Made the commitment a number of years ago to buy some property and expand there on that site. Obviously, before all the best available floodplain garbage came out from DNR. So we have been through at much expense floodway permit, and we have a permit in hand to fill in the floodway. It's not gonna, when you get those permits, you have to prove to them that you're not going to raise that flood water. So we went through that process, and that's all been, okayed there. So we're not impacting anybody. So we've got those permits, in order to do that. The facility is 4 phases. I think we got 5 phases, I guess, ultimately. So the building, if you can pick it out, is kind of an L shape in the lower left hand on the west side of the property there. So we would be basically making a U shape, if you will, building out to the northeast, north, and west, kind of in the pink areas there. Just continue to expand. No guarantee it's all going to be that way. We're sure the first building's definitely going in. Our plan is to fill the floodplain, fill all that area up. All the building pad will come up to what we need, and then in anticipation of those buildings continuing on around through there. We've designed our stormwater. We're picking up stormwater on the north side of the buildings and bringing that all the way around to the south, like over a quarter of a mile, more than a quarter of a mile of piping to bring all of our water around, stored in a detention facility on the south side of the property and released to the ditch. There's a ditch on the west side of the property right along the county road, if you're not familiar with that area there. Fairly large ditch, deep ditch. The floodway itself is actually contained within the banks of that ditch. The floodway that we've had to deal with is the other ditch to the east that continues. The floodway comes 1,000 feet away from that ditch. So 2 ditches there. Again, if you're not familiar, we're in between those. So I think we went through the PUD. We spent a lot of time with Richard and Henry, plotting out what we want to do here, what's best for the facility. We have went through the drainage board and got approval to discharge our stormwater into that drain. We did just recently, kind of as an afterthought, we decided it might be better to have a new construction entrance on the north side of the property and not bring all the trucks, thousands of trucks in there with fill right past the facility. So we are going to be pursuing either a permanent or a temporary crossing as well to the north there. So there'll be a second driveway there. So obviously we can't do that unless we get permits from DNR, but that would be our plan as well there. Again, Clayton, anything to add here?
I'll add just a few things. One, I think it's worth saying that we started this project with the Yoders 2 years ago, and they've been very intentional throughout this whole process. They've done their research on, other properties in the area. They've done their research on the maximum footprint that they would ever need for this business in the foreseeable future. I mean, really the goal here, this plan is meant to represent the maximum development and to do so in a way that is responsible, both with consideration to the floodplain, floodway, as well as the local area around. And Additionally, just trying to think here if there was anything else. Yeah.
Yeah, again, just to touch on that, they have looked at all options, and this is the best option. There's really no properties, quite honestly, available to, if we were to move this entire facility, somewhere else, there's nothing available that we're aware of, and they've looked, in the county there. So, again, we don't bring these to you unless we've done as much homework as we possibly can, looked at all the ins and outs, the pros and cons and everything, and tried to put together a plan that we believe addresses all the concerns as best as we possibly can here on site. So again, Richard and Henry are here as well if you have questions for them. A good, clean facility, virtually no outside storage, well, really no outside storage, period. There. So if you haven't been to there, I think it's a very nice, clean facility there.
No lot coverage issues or anything like that? Or is that even to pertain to a PUD?
It does.
It does. Okay.
The zoning standards being applied to lot 1, which is where the business would be located, the proposed lot 1 would be I-1 zoning standards, which applies to setbacks, coverage. And the proposed coverage with all phases is listed at 42%. It would be allowed up to 75% with that
Yes.
zoning.
Yes.
Which we're never going to exceed what's there now, because that we'd have to go over into the flood way, and we can't go anymore over there. So
That's done, right?
we're done.
Yeah,
Once this is
okay.
done, we're done there.
Okay.
Yeah. Without well, we could, but it'd be very, very expensive. It'd be cost prohibitive if you were to ever try to go out in the rest of that floodplain. You'd have to do major work if you could even get a permit. So realistically, in all practical terms, we can't expand out.
I went by and it looked low back portion of it anyway.
Bring lots of fill in.
Yeah,
Lots
lots
of
of fill in.
yeah.
Okay, okay. Okay. And it won't just disappear down into the ground or the fill, that is. There are places like that in the county. Okay, okay, all right.
Thankfully, there's lots of testing for compaction and all that
Sure,
stuff that
yeah.
goes into that.
Yep.
So.
A lot of volume's coming in, but we're not filling more than a couple of feet in height there. Less than 4 feet, I believe.
4 to 5.
4 to 5. Yeah. Okay.
That's a lot of dirt. Okay,
Is a current operation only being used on this site, or is part of the business also operating someplace else?
There is some operation just across the road. Yeah, across the road. Kind of related, but just because they're related. But I don't think, is there anywhere else that the business would be located? Okay. Will that use be also moved over here at some point exclusively? Yeah. So I think that was really meant to be a short-term solution until the long-term solution could be developed. Yeah.
and what do you manufacture?
Dining room furniture, tables and chairs.
Okay, all right. I've seen their stuff over at the Mac. Okay, yeah, good stuff, good stuff.
Scott, who lives in the lot, the house on lot 2?
Richard.
Yeah, Richard.
We actually
The
have
R in RNH.
we actually have somebody living on the lot.
And Henry's across the road, right? Slightly south, across the road.
No concern about having this large of a factory in their front yard.
I don't think so.
If they do, they shouldn't have hired us.
Now, where on this will there be a second drive possibly? Did you say something
Right here, there's,
right
Well,
there?
they're going to put a temporary bridge in for the fill.
Okay,
And
yep.
they did talk about, depending how it goes, they may end up trying to permit to have it permanent if they feel it's necessary.
Okay.
I would imagine if you look on the plans, we haven't nailed that down exactly, but it would only make sense to be If you see where phase
Yeah.
5 is, a generator there. So between the existing generator and the proposed generator in phase 5 would be the logical place for that to come in.
And likely upstream of whatever outlet is coming off the site too.
Okay.
What's the current square foot, Scott, on this facility?
You guys know?
30, I think 30, right around 30,000 feet.
What's the, at full build out, Scott, your plan here, what's the square footage and full build out?
Do some quick math.
I should anticipate that. You gonna do the math? Go to the next question. We'll give us a minute.
He's got a calculator on that. Yeah, is there another question? Anybody?
That land to the east on lot 1, will that be utilized with lot 2, or how will that be maintained?
Currently, that's either hayfield and or I think sheep would graze out there at times. So agriculture.
So it'd still be utilized, okay.
Hay or pasture. Yeah, would be our intent there. I doubt it'd be row crops. It doesn't make any sense for row
No.
crops. So probably hay or pasture. Again, it's floodplain, so it's actually it seems pretty fertile. I mean, the hay out there seems to grow pretty good, so it's good soil from that standpoint. So it would make the most sense. Am I correct there, Richard? Yeah.
Scott, just correct me, if you build the facility and let's say you don't keep your crossing, the one you're used for temporary, the only way to access is to come in, do immediate left and come back along the ditch there, correct? To access that back part?
Right, which is where we currently are right now, and that's
Okay.
currently accessing that way.
I'm getting about started at 63,000 square feet.
63 new additional, so about double what there is there now.
So correct me here, yeah, 30,000 currently, and this full build out, you'll have 62 at full build out, or an additional 62.
Additional, yeah.
So it'd be
About
90,
100,000.
92,000. Okay.
100. It's a large facility, but also a couple zeros behind the investment. So it's a big investment there as well too. And again, part of the I think the methodology was we have a lot of investors. They have a lot of investment there already. So you continue at that site. You're looking at a new site. They have looked at new sites, and nothing's really presenting itself that's available to be able to expand to. So it's an issue for the county to have shovel-ready sites. If there were shovel-ready sites, then businesses like this might be able to move, to that. So, we've heard even like on 9, well, it's going to cost millions of dollars to bring in sewer and water to a site. So that's going to be restrictive for a business coming into that area.
I will add too, I will draw your attention to the next generation is also here tonight as a part of this petition. I mean, they're looking more than just their own career length. They're looking at the next generation too in these types of developments. And, they've done the work within amongst themselves to see that this is a sustainable plan, not just for their lifetimes, but for the next generation as well.
I think most of the PEDs we bring to you guys, the next generation is already involved. They're probably not going to go that next major investment unless the next generation is pretty much committed to be a part of that business and continue on, which means it's going to stay there for another 30 years probably until that generation following that decides what they want to do. So it is a multi-generational family business that I believe you will see. Very few of these ever go out. In fact, I've seen a number as much as 90+% of these businesses after 5 years are successful, unlike other businesses that are not family oriented. If they're not family run and multi-generational, you don't see those staying. The longevity isn't there as we would have with multi-generational businesses.
This is the recommendation for the rezone, correct?
Yes. So we probably ought to go next to anybody here this evening. Are you guys done, do you think?
We are.
For now? Okay. Is there anybody here this evening who would like to speak against this PUD? We'll close the public hearing. Okay. How many employees you guys got? 45, okay. I would think you're looking to expand that considerably a bit, at least.
But not tremendously.
Okay,
We had a max of 60 on our commercial site plan checklist.
okay.
So that 45 would include, what, 8 or 10 across the street? So in this facility, we only have 35.
Okay, okay, so you have that many across the street too. And you say that's gonna be moved over then?
That's the plan.
That's the plan, yeah. How long do you foresee that before that happens?
Well, we're trying to get it done by the end of the year. But we don't know if we- after that.
Got a lot of dirt to move first.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a goal. Okay.
Well, we wanted more PUDs and I think this is a good use for one. And I guess I applaud Scott because he seems to be one of the only ones that bring those to us.
Well, Clayton more, so he does most of the work.
No,
Do you know what the current soil type is there, Scott, in that spot where they're wanting to build?
I don't think we put that on here. Is the question? Soil type.
I can probably find it here pretty quick.
I don't, but I know when we hired CB Bell, if you're familiar with Christopher Burke Engineering Limited, they're the ones that helped us get we hired them to get the floodway permit. So as far as I know, they saw no issues with the fill on that. So I guess I can't answer the soil type, but
Whether or not it tells you anything, I can probably get you some.
'Cause sometimes just filling on top of unstable soils doesn't really, you get to a layer, but if it's not good underneath, I'm just curious.
my guess is that what you're going to see is because that ditch to the west seems to have really solid banks and stuff in there. So if you go much further west, you may end up with marginal soils in that next bit large agriculture area. And then when you go east in the wooded area, another quarter mile to the east there, it would be marginal. But it looked to me like that general area where these businesses and these houses are setting is generally following a more stable soil ridge line in there. Again, as evidenced by that open ditch that we see out there, which is fairly stable soils. I didn't see much organic soils at all in that ditch. If you go over to the eastern ditch, then you're going to get into more organic, questionable soils over there. Find that.
The primary soil type is SE.
That's not an organic soil, so it'd be more of a clay loam, if I remember right.
Well, I would have thought they would have to do soil borings and so forth for your floodway permit.
Geotechnical
You know, I would think so, yeah, technical, yeah. Okay. Well, it's big, but it appears to be well thought out.
25, 30-year-old company continuing to expand in our county. I like the fact that there's going to be possibly not as much back and forth, possibly between across the road. Proceeding in a manner that I think we've been wanting to occur.
Paul, you were about to say something.
I move to give a favorable recommendation to the commissioners for RH Yoder Enterprises PUD.
I'll second that motion. Any further discussion? All right, let's go.
Glenn,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
Zach,
No,
Kevin,
Yes.
Ethan,
Yes.
Shannon.
Yes.
And Paul.
Yes.
You've been approved. Thank you very much. What?
You've been given a favorable recommendation.
Oh, you've been given a favorable recommendation. Well, you
I
know,
know what you mean.
all right,
Just want to clarify.
okay.
Let's move on.
Why not?
Next one up, 25 SB 67, Working Township, Section 20, Township 36 North, Range 8 East, it's zone 82. It's located at 10915 West, 600 South North. Application for 72 by 160 warehouse and office for equipment and material storage for general contracting business. There's our proposed development. Do I have a representative?
So again, Scott Ziegler and Clayton Evans, Random Plow Surveying, representing Freeman and the family. So a little bit of background. So Freeman would own this property. There was a house that sat where you see the trees kind of in the southwestmost corner. There was an old house and garage that sat there, probably a little farmstead or something. And then he owns more property to the north, which would be where he lives, and has some agricultural buildings and that up there to the north. So this would be on the southern side of his property along the county road. So one of the reasons for your previous meeting, has a contracting business. So be moving the business into this new facility. If you're familiar with that area, it's probably good farm ground, but it holds a lot of water if it's not subsurface drains. So we have some pretty large detention facilities there that we believe we can manage our water as best we possibly can. There's no tile outlet. The water now just sheet flows down to the side ditch of the road and then leaves. If I looked at just a 3.5 acre site around the building, I'm discharging less than a third of what the water that would discharge off of that site in its existing conditions in a 5-year storm. So that would discharge about 3 cubic feet per second. I'm discharging less than one, about 0.6 of a CFS off of that. So I've detained the water in the north pond. It'll equalize into the south pond, and then it'll spill out. So the whole 3.5 acres will discharge out with only a 8-inch pipe. It's really flat at 2 thousandths grade per foot. So fairly flat tile there, about as flat as I can actually get. That water will continue down the county, side ditch of the road until it hits a legal drain, another couple hundred yards to the west, and then leave that way. So I think I've got my discharge as close to the proportional capacity of that property as I can to that. So if I have to discharge slightly lower, I can, but that would be the ideal number right there. So again, I'm way under the standard. Standard would be 5-year storm, and we're a third of that even is what we're discharging. So I think we're managing our stormwater as best as we possibly can on that. The east drive is a drive that would continue back to Freeman's house. We were proposing another driveway to the west there, which almost lines up with the road to the south. It's close, a slight jog. There was an existing driveway there before with that homestead that I'd mentioned. And new buildings. So Clayton, anything else that you have?
Yeah, so the minor subdivision came through for this one a few months back. This business is currently housed on Freeman's property. And so the goal for putting it here, one is to, move it a little ways from his home, but also to put it on its own piece of land for business reasons, I guess you could say. And to be able to continue to, continue to run the business with more elbow room, and they've seen some good growth as a business recently, and so they just need more space for that. This is another one where it is platted as 3.5 acres, but only 30% coverage. So they're doing a good job of using that space efficiently. The shared drive helps to keep down on the amount of traffic impact on that road. They do want to maintain that second driveway cut, which, like Scott said, has been there. There's already a culvert there, but for just the ease of flow on the site, it really works better to have that second driveway. From what I've understood from Freeman, and Dwayne's here to represent the business tonight, the location of the second driveway cut is not necessarily to have a lot more traffic, but just to allow the traffic on the site to flow more smoothly. And we did talk with Theron about that some as well. And obviously that second drive would be subject to the highway permit, county highway permit. I think that we've addressed all the technical items that came through at the tech meeting. And yeah, would appreciate this to move forward for them. I don't know if it has to be subject to the UDO amendment.
Correct.
Is there any public comment on this non-public hearing item this evening? Any questions?
Will traffic be able to flow in and out of each lane?
I don't know, I'm not sure what you're asking.
Okay, will traffic be able to enter one
Oh, the drive width?
driveway and exit another?
Yeah, so the existing drive to the east is
17
about
wide.
17 feet wide. The one to the west is about 20 feet wide, just because it has a little sharper curve there. But yeah, those should be capable of traffic both directions.
Are you asking if it can go in one and come out the other?
Yes.
He's asking.
Oh, like a one-way?
anytime you drive.
Oh,
Okay, that's not how it's proposed.
Yeah.
Currently.
the east drive would be our drive for the house too, so it'd be in and out there. I think the intent would probably be that any of the public that would come in on the east drive. The west drive was more for internal flow and their
If you look at
trailers
the-
and equipment to be able to.
If you look at how the driveway is drawn, I believe the goal is to be able to pull through that building and be able to pull back out. So that's really the main reason. So they don't have to crank it really hard to get back to the east there.
So there's an overhead door on each side of the building.
Correct.
So they have construction trailer, job site trailers, whatever, so just pull in the building and then pull out the other side and take off.
Back in and out, yes.
Like that.
Does this all exist on that one parcel?
3.5 acres. See how you can see the bold line rectangle around? That's the 3.5 acres where they will be.
Just north of the blue is a detention pond, so just north of that would be the north line and just east of the driveway would be the other.
And Darren's good with the two drives?
As far as
County
we know.
engineer's good with the two drives,
As far as we know.
as far as you know.
The
If she's not,
separation
they
was,
won't get a driveway permit, but as far as we understand.
Well, that's a truism, yes. I'm technical committee, is what I was referring
Yeah.
to, sorry.
She just asked for them to explain the need for the two drives.
Okay,
And then explain it the same way they did here at the technical review about going in one side and leaving the other.
So this, you'd be creating a new lot here, Scott, with this plan.
it already is created.
already
Yeah, we've
created, it's
already
not
created
back
that previously. The reason this didn't go through with it was because of the contractor business. We planned for both of them to go through at the same time, but when we found out the contractor business, we had to wait.
This is a construction company that houses their equipment and employees meet here. And obviously maybe a few customers come in and look at stuff or order.
Right, there might be an
Or-
estimator, a couple office people there in the building, but not a retail center certainly.
They build houses, barns, or what construction they in? What's that? Any of the,
All of the above.
Yeah, concrete.
And Freeman for doing this. I think it's a great site plan. I think there's a lot more contractors going to follow. So the new amendment we just did for the UDO is great. So I move to approve the site plan as presented.
Upon conditional approval upon the UDO amendment being approved by the commission.
to allow the construction companies to be in a,
I'll second that motion, combination motion there. Any further discussion? Okay, let's go ahead and vote.
Glenn,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
Zach,
yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
Ethan,
Yes.
Taylor,
Yes.
and Paul.
Yes.
All right, now I can say it. You've been approved. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Move on to 26 SPL 1, it's Green Township, Section 19, Township 36 North, Ranging East, and Zone 2. It's located at 1105 95 West 600 South Millersburg. Application is to operate a custom order woodworking business within an existing building. Here's our site plan. Construction.
Just down the road.
Other representative.
Scott and Clayton here with Hand of the Plow Surveying, landowners present as well. Joseph reached out to us several months back, new to the county. He has worked with his dad's business in Kosciuszko County for many years. And so he was hoping, he was wanting to be able to run his business here out of an existing structure, woodworking business. Pretty small operation. At the time, it was just him. I think now you maybe have two other employees. So, yeah, like I said, small scale, couple of employees, and just wanting to basically follow the ordinance requirements for a business like this and bring everything up to date with the county. There was some back and forth. So by the time we made it to the technical meeting, he's had some more time to get his feet under him and to think more long-term about this site. He did go ahead and show a phase 2 possible future expansion building. That's a very loose concept at this point. There's no definitive plans as far as we're aware of what that would look like. So not even necessarily asking the board to approve phase 2 tonight, if that makes sense. There's too many unknowns, but we wanted to at least make the board aware of the goal, the potential expansion. So really the goal for tonight is just to bring the site up to compliance with the UDO. There's some landscaping proposed. They've added a restroom, some parking, concrete in the right of way, semi turnaround, just some important things like that for the business to function. And like we said, with the possibility of future growth, but if they get to the point of adding a structure, the one shown here, 80 by 150, was a really rough number. We don't know. That would probably be the largest that you would ever consider in the foreseeable future. But that could, at some point, require stormwater plans and additional things like that. So the goal of proposing the phase 2 is not necessarily to try to get the approval past the board, but more just to inform the board of possible future expansion. And obviously, that would be up to the board if you and Robbie's office to ensure that any future expansion may need additional approvals, if that makes sense. So if there's any questions on any of that, we're happy to entertain it. But this one is, pretty simple at this point.
Let's think specifically that too, Zach. If we do propose another building, if we come forward with that, we did not design any stormwater, so there's a legal drain there we'll have to be tapping into. So we'll be getting with you on.
This is actually a mutual
sizing.
tile.
Was that just a mutual one?
Mutual tile.
Okay, well, I think the legal must be across.
It's
the road
down the
then.
way here.
Okay. Well, I take that back. So then I thought that was the county. So anyways, we'll have to hone in the stormwater plan there too, but we can manage it on site. I know that. We just haven't designed that, but we have enough room to manage it on site there.
We're just approving the existing facility with the updates, and then phase 2 would come back in front of this board again if they get to that point.
Just full disclosure, we're showing you that there is a possibility that we may want to expand a little bit. We don't think it's going to be any bigger than what this is here.
And I made note of it.
Okay.
Is there any public comment on this non-public hearing item? Thank you. Anything else you guys got? Nope.
To approve the site plan as presented.
Second. Any further discussion? Let's go ahead and vote.
Wall.
Yes.
Shannon.
Yes.
Ethan.
Yes.
Kevin.
Yes.
Zach.
Yes.
Tyler.
Yes.
And Lynn.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. You've been approved. I can say it again.
Sit down.
2 for 4 tonight. That's not
2 for 4. Well, 50%.
You can ask for
Not
more.
good. All right. Probably has supplied us with some information that we can discuss here a little bit, decide what to do with it. Anything else you have, communications, Robbie?
No, I just wanted to point out that I gave you page 31 out of the UDO, out of the comprehensive plan. So it talks about zoning ordinance could establish limitations for rural industries. I know that is something that is being discussed at a later date for manufacturing, but I just wanted to point out, land use number 10 talks about it, so I just gave this handout to you all.
Thank you, Robbie.
Yeah.
Would that, if we going forward allow businesses that could potentially be 100,000 square feet, that would have to be altered in some fashion in the
Well,
comprehensive
I think
plan?
it really needs to be looked at.
Mhm.
And whatever comes up with manufacturing, then we'll have to see what that proposal is,
Yes.
based on this land use number 10.
Okay, very good. Thank you. I know I think there's another spot in there someplace too that talks about that. But that one's definitely a good one. Okay, we have some discussion here concerning that Robbie sent out to us involving covered manure stacks and improving the driveways to the manure stack. Anything minimum setbacks between barns, getting rid of the property agreements between for residential setbacks, and then whether we want to require the AFOs to have a CFO setback so they match, and when people expand from an AFO to a CFO, which seems to be a trend for especially Miller Poultry, they're already at the 200, they're already at the CFO distance. All this is up for discussion. Anybody got any ideas, questions, concerns? I meant to bring some stuff that Shannon sent me, and I left it probably in the printer.
And I would just like to preface this by saying that the commissioners has asked us to look into a density, so that's why this is being brought up. Again, we had some public input at the last meeting about it, so I just need to know if you have any thoughts, if you have a direction for me, or are we waiting out another month on this?
I myself would like another month to just think it over, but if you guys want to make a move, it's up to you guys.
I just had some things I wanted to talk about with the ideas of the setbacks. Currently, with the current setbacks on an AFO, with for instance, the side yard setbacks is 100 feet. So essentially, the minimum setback between the barns is 200 feet. CFOs would be 400 feet and KFOs would be 500 feet. I don't know that, making a minimum setback between barns on, from a county behalf is a good idea. I think it would be a good practice for the poultry producers or livestock producers to make that. They're much more familiar with maintaining and keeping livestock than this board is. So that's how I feel about the minimum side yard setback, or excuse me, the minimum barn setbacks that we're proposing in the new table. I don't know that the setbacks for the minimum setbacks for front, side, and rear. I don't know how I feel about that as far as AFO opposed to CFO. It makes sense. It seems like it would make sense to make them the same as a CFO, but I don't know exactly how I feel about that either.
Well, yeah, I think the rationale for that is they start as an AFO and they come back to build a second barn, and then it becomes a CFO, and they don't need setbacks because they built the first one too close. So I think that was part of the reason maybe to make those consistent, so they don't have to come back for a variance the second time when they expand.
I understand that, but I think the 20 acre lot size is going to control those setbacks. Because if you got to have 20 acres to be a CFO and you build an AFO on 10 acres, you can't turn it into a CFO without having an additional 10 acres.
Yeah,
acreage isn't proposed in Robbie's table right now, though.
Oh, it is not.
No, it's not.
Where's the active one, I suppose? Of the three tables, which one's active?
First one.
The table,
First one, except for on the bottom.
Yeah,
where it
right here.
says in yellow and highlighted, and there was a recommendation to make a setback between the,
so this is,
everything else on
this
the
is the
table
working
is
one right
is
now,
current.
Tyler.
So CFO it is a minimum lot size of 20 acres for CFO.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to build another barn to make it a CFO, it'd have to meet those.
Problem,
I think that would be the biggest limiting factor.
the problem is they put the one barn 100 foot away and they put another one that kicks them over. They don't put the barn right beside, close to the other one because of the proximity.
Oh, I
So
understand.
instead of making 100 feet, then the one barn's in violation. So I believe it still makes sense to just require the 200 feet. 200 feet's not, it's a distance, but I think it just sets us up for better future planning so we don't have those problems.
Acreage remain the same then? That with no acreage requirement? I know Ethan mentioned something in an email about that for
AFO?
AFO. Yes.
What was your recommendation on that? You didn't have acres, or if you had to choose one.
So I think in that email, I was just discussing doing it in conjunction with the H1 zoning, where it allows you to split off a minimum of a 20 acre parcel. And then you have the one time split of 5 acres.
2 to 5.
So that would leave 15 remaining.
So you want to
But
fit,
if it's currently 20, I don't know that I necessarily have a problem with 20.
Currently 20 for CFO. So there is no minimum for AFO.
No minimum
just has
for
to meet the
AFO.
setbacks.
Used to be 10,
So
as I recall,
I guess
many moons ago.
with that being said, then I think a AFO should be 15.
I think that's reasonable.
minimum acreage is 50.
Yes.
The thing that concerns me about that is I think right now the board's mind is on chicken barns being an AFO. But if you look at the minimum of the allowable livestock that makes a property an AFO, you could have the minimum size on a lot less than what, 29,000 head chicken barn would be.
On a lot less than 15 acres.
On a lot, you could do it responsibly on less than 15 acres. I mean, I think right now the board's mind is on chicken barns.
Majority we see is the 29,995, whatever. Yeah, that's the majority. I don't think I've hardly seen anything less than that because you're gonna economies of scale. We're gonna maximize your AFO profitability. You're not gonna build them smaller. Maybe 1 out of 100.
So on this first sheet is the current UDO minus the setbacks. What are the current setbacks?
On the
The first page.
table,
Yes.
the only thing that's different on that first table than what's in the current UDO is the yellow. Is that minimum setback between barns on neighboring properties.
And what are they currently on the
That-
AFO?
There's none.
None.
There is none. That's a whole new line item. That's a whole new line item.
Density, if you want
And
to
on
call
the
it density.
CFOs, the 1320.
This is all new on the bottom there in yellow.
So what are they currently on the CFO?
There is none.
There isn't any
There
on
is
the
none.
CFO either.
Or a CAFO.
So
No,
there's nothing at all.
no, that's a whole new line item there. A whole new portion of
I
the
was
table.
trying to understand the table. so
Mhm.
now I got it.
Yeah. Okay.
If we put that in the minimum setback, and I'm with Tyler, if somebody wants 2 chicken barns in the same integrator, we're gonna have to put verbiage in there for that. So
Well,
that whole thing should go away.
that I misunderstood that the first time I read it also. It's not between the barns on the property, it's between neighboring barns.
Yeah.
So you can still have 2 barns right next to each other as long as they're your
You're managing both
barns.
of them. You're not managing them. It's most likely it's the same grower because they're gonna locate there. you're not gonna grow two growers and have the barns outside each other.
Same integrator,
Yeah.
everything. Yeah.
But again, I don't think that the integrators are gonna be putting them closer. I mean, that's with all the diseases that we were having. I don't know.
It's all money driven. So if there's profit in it, they'll go to the max till they lose money.
So do you,
Again, this was brought up that commissioners have asked us to look into it. That's why all of this is being brought up.
And if we don't act on this, can the commissioners act on this themselves? I mean, can they?
force a vote?
They can force a. We do not have to. They can
Basically.
create an ordinance, correct?
We're sending it to them with a recommendation.
Mm-hmm.
And even if we send it with a negative.
Unfavorable.
recommendation,
Yeah, unfavorable.
Unfavorable.
There you go.
It still goes to them and they can approve it,
That is correct.
even if it's unfavorable from us.
Yes, that's correct.
So basically, we're being forced to come up with something that best fits the county
Yes.
and best suits everything for them to vote on since it's being asked of us.
Yes, that is correct.
Coming up with the best solution that we're being forced to give.
There you go. Well,
Did,
I'm not arguing with you at all.
That recommendation can also be that no changes are made.
Correct.
Yes,
Very true.
that's also true. Well, let's go back to the first page right now, okay? On the scale drawing representing the dimensions and so forth. Covered manure stack and improved drive to the manure stack. Where do we stand on that?
So I sent out some numbers in the email about the improved drive, and basically it's less than a 1% increase to put the drive in on the cost of a barn. It's super minimal. The issue I have with the covered manure stack is through the FSA office, there is funding available for having a cemented covered manure stack, but you have to apply for that funding. Sometimes it can take up to a year to get that funding or get approved for that funding, and it all depends on if there's money in that program for them to give out. So if we're gonna require it, then I guess I feel that there needs to be some kind of a leeway of a year, maybe 2 years, on having that implemented, because essentially we're holding them up from getting their barn because they cannot get final approval until that manure stack's done.
this is strictly just to qualify for health assistance for
Yes.
Okay.
You basically turn in an application to get funding for this manure stack. It may take up to a year to hear back whether you're gonna get the money or not. And then another year to put it in essentially. So basically there's potentially money available to these guys to do it, but they don't know whether they're getting it or not. And essentially we're forcing them to not apply for the funding and pay for it out of their own pocket. I mean, that program's there for a reason. So I think we need to make that available to them somehow. And I don't know if we give them a 2-year leeway with the understanding that if you don't get your funding, you're gonna have to do it. I just don't know. I don't wanna.
Follow up on that would be in there.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes, it has to be done at the time of occupancy of the building, which I agree.
I'll go now.
Okay. Mhm.
If a manure stack is stored on concrete, even if it's like concrete with a 4, 5, 6 inch lip around the edge, a stack of manure can hold an incredible amount of water without runoff. Most of the chicken litter that I think this board's concerned with will hold an incredible amount of water without runoff. Sometimes it actually makes it spread easier if it is saturated. I don't know that the board should require a covered manure stack. However, a concrete pad, which I think is already required to have on concrete, especially if there's a lip. I don't foresee any rain event that would flood an enclosed concrete pad with a manure stack. Now, in my opinion.
It happens.
Unfortunately, I mean, I agree with Tyler. I've moved some chicken litter that's been set out in the weather for a year, and you almost get a 2-3 inch layer of crust on the top where the water hits it, and then it's bone dry underneath. It's more important to me to have it on a concrete pad than have it covered. Covered would be preferred.
With a lip, concrete pad with a lip.
I'd agree with that, yes.
And they're on your slope.
Then they are, okay, they already are, is that, okay, all right. Shannon, you know more about the economics than any of us do. What about the improved drive to the manure stack? Anybody?
Well, I mean, Ethan's done research. I mean, gravel, simple limestone gravel. It's part of the building process. I mean, it's not, something they're not already ordering, just getting more of it to get. It's got to be hauled either by the owner or somebody for hire. I said it before. Every single one of my livestock barns I can go to any day of the year and access the manure storage because there are drives to every entrance to every barn that I have.
Go ahead, Shannon. Is it an economic hardship? Let me put it that way.
I don't believe it would be an economic hardship for the amount of funds that are being spent on the overall project. And if you're going to do it, you do it when you're building the project and you're building the structure. I guess my only question is, it sounds like it's an issue for the hauler of the manure, not necessarily the barn owner, if it's being transported off property. So I guess my question is, do we require it when you can change the pickup date? So if there's a stone driveway, you can get in at any time you want, as I just said. But it might limit, if there's no stone driveway and there's been a lot of rain, you're going to limit your times in which you can gain access easily. So to me, that's an issue with the hauler. So don't haul when the ground's saturated.
So if they don't have good access, people just won't go pick it up. And when it don't get picked up, people just shove it out the back. That's what's happening. If there's a good drive, you can get it at any time. But because it's both, ain't just the hauler, but it's the person who has the manure as well. If they can't get people back, nobody wants to pick it up because it's too much of a pain in the butt to get back there. They need to get rid of the manure. They don't have time to spread it. They'll shove it out the back.
Is that legal?
No, but we can't do nothing about it. What we can do is this stuff right here to make it very easy to access, so it's less likely it's going to happen because people will pick it up because it does have value.
The way I look at it, which may not be the right way, but it's the way I look at it, is essentially a farmer has 4 months out of the year to spread fertilizer on their fields. Without a proper drive going back to the manure stack, then you take that 4 months and you shrink it down more. If you are a licensed hauler, you're not supposed to spread on frozen ground. You're not supposed to do this. You're not supposed to do that. So there alone, you're shrinking those 4 months down even more from when it's legal to haul it and when it's not legal to haul it. And then you go in on, well, there was a rain event. Now we can't get in there to this drive. I look at it as I do not want any excuse for somebody not to be able to get back to that manure stack that's been pushed out of the back of the barn and clean that manure up.
Typically, the nice dry hauling days, that's when the farmers are usually doing something else. They'll do haul manure when they can't work in the field or the conditions aren't right. So basically, they'll haul when it's the crappiest weather, it seems like, because that's what they can do. But if they can't access the manure, then it just piles up. not everybody's guilty of this, but there are numerous ones that are. So how does the county address if we can't address certain things? We can make it really easy to access, so it's very easy to pick up any time of the year.
And another thing to keep in mind, just because third parties coming into these barns to haul the manure out doesn't mean they're going to spread it at the same time. They can take it to a staging area that is fit for them to get to easily when the ground conditions are fit. So they're not necessarily going to pick this manure up when they're going to go spread it the same day. You know, they go with a semi or something, take it to another staging area that's closer to the place where they're going to spread it, and then, you know, spread it at a later date. So like, you know, Zach just said, and, you know, Ethan knows also, it's not usually ideal conditions when you have time to pick this manure up.
I saw 3 guys hauling chicken manure today. Today would not be a day you want to go off of the road. I mean, and BB's, you know what I'm saying?
For the FSA program for the covered manure storage, there is no requirements for that. Like, I don't have any livestock myself, but I utilize chicken litter. I'm looking into going and applying for that FSA program to get a grant to put up one of these barns, just so I can go pick the litter up when they want it picked up and store it in my facility, and then
Get it covered.
remove it and
Yeah.
spread it when it fits me. And that would be another time that these drives would be important, because I could do it on a day like today where everything's melting and take it from their facility, put it in my facility, and then pull it out when the weather's fit.
So it sounds like the improved driveway is favored.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. You had said it's a minuscule percent of the entire, what I've seen in estimates and stuff like that, I'd agree with that.
Covered manure stack could be a possibility, but with some kind of grace period, but that would be impossible to. So we either would do it or we would not do it.
And again, I don't know how you police that. I think
Yeah.
that would just be a logistical nightmare.
Okay.
It's more concerning to me that they have a cement pad out there with some kind of lip or even blocks, something like that, that the manure can't come off of.
Okay.
And I've been to sites with that type of storage, and it's been suitable in my opinion.
Now, is there one barn? Is there one integrator that is requiring covers?
I don't think there's any integrator that
Okay.
requires a.
I didn't know if it was
covered manure
Herbricks. Okay.
stack. I think that's more of an IDEM, on an IDEM permitted barn.
On I didn't permitted barn. CFO.
Yes, I believe
CAFO.
a CFO
Okay.
or a CAFO
Okay.
requires a covered manure stack.
That's right. It is. Yes. Okay. Okay.
So most of them that are uncovered are the AFOs
Okay.
or smaller stores.
Do you know why they recover them, or why do they require them for the larger ones, but not the smaller AFO, Ethan?
I do not know the answer to
Most don't
that.
have an ITEM permit.
So if AFOs were IDEM permitted, they might possibly need a roof then, possibly.
If we followed all the other requirements.
If they, okay. All right.
But an AFO is left up to the county, where the other two have to get an IDEM permit. And IDEM does require covered manure stacks for a CFO or a CAFO.
Okay. So when we see an AFO that goes to a CFO, that's why we see a covered manure stack.
Yes.
Okay. Correct. Okay.
Where they don't currently have one and then they're adding one, it's because they're required to by IDEM.
Okay. Okay. The next page then has the new category of minimum setback between barns on neighboring properties. Is that anything we want to jump into or not? And set it where we think it might be reasonable instead of,
Kevin, you're a commissioner that will be voting on this. How do you feel about it?
they might propose something like 5,280 feet,
Well,
I like what everything's written here. I mean, I agree with the concrete with the lip, and definitely having You're referring to that, aren't you, Zach? The manure sack?
Yeah. Yeah, the setbacks for this was a big one that you guys
Sorry,
wanted.
you went on.
You guys,
Yeah, we're on the next page.
You guys, the commissioners, I know not you specifically, but one of the commissioners was wanting a setback between buildings. I don't know how you
Well, they
felt.
want it, they wanted density.
Density, which
This is one way to accomplish
there's
that.
acres, there's
Yeah.
setbacks, yeah.
Zach, I have to tell you, I don't know much about it, as you well know, and I listen to the experts. I know Jeff's talked about a little bit about the density, and then I know Miller and Herbert that night they didn't have really concern about it. I didn't feel.
We asked for it, and they didn't give us no numbers.
Yeah, they did.
The duck people are 1320. And at a meeting that we had with Herbrick, they were at 1,500 feet between their barns. So whether that's true or not from Herbrick, I don't know.
And I think that'll take care of itself. I think if they're gonna put those numbers in between their barns regardless. And I did hear that. That was one of Herbert's numbers, but
I'm not sure. We have not seen them policing themselves in the county as far as, I mean, because there are barns that are much closer than a quarter of an acre, a quarter of a mile from each other. They haven't been self-policing.
Yeah. They say it, but they're not actually practicing it.
I'm not saying, to be blunt, I'm not saying that's a problem. I'm saying that
If you're relying on them to police themselves, it may be questioned, but what's going to be done or not, in my opinion. I still think if they require it, what's the problem with us requiring it as a county requirement as well?
That's true.
It just holds them to their own standard.
How do you feel about the 1320, Tyler?
Well, a quarter mile's not really that far. I don't know how big of an issue it would be. It'd be interesting to know how many barns are currently in violation of that. If it were, to go into effect, that'd be an interesting number to have. I don't know how. I wouldn't ask Robbie to try and look that up for me. You're welcome. Jeff's got his hand up.
Yeah, Jeff.
Well, from the, if I would like to ask the Purdue Extension Agent at LaGrange County.
That's fine.
on this
Sure.
matter.
Come up here, Jeff, I guess, so you're on video.
Jeff Burbank, Purdue Extension, upstairs, 114 West Michigan. Okay. Regarding the industry kind of policing itself, probably about 3 years ago, just shortly after I arrived, they had a meeting of a lot of the integrators locally, the head honchos from the integrators. They met, and I believe that maybe the lady who's with the Indiana State Poultry Association was with them also. And there was a proposal put out at that time to limit the space between barns. And by one of the companies, actually, I think two of the companies had kind of got their heads together. And it really failed. I mean, they just laughed at it. The tone has changed now. The tone's changed. I believe that the companies now would go for something, and the number that was getting kicked around the other day was around 1,500. So that's what I was hearing. So, but yeah, I think a few years ago, it was getting largely ignored, and some of the integrators were just saying, that's not a concern to us. We just want to get as many out there as we can. That tone has changed.
That because of the avian.
I think that's part of it. Really, we know that the disease was getting spread from farm to farm by wheeled, by tracks and tires and boots and that kind of thing. The initial batch of birds that got sick came in, of course, from migrating birds, but then it got spread from farm to farm. Once the community agreed to stop having meetings at their facilities, then the numbers dropped way off since Christmas. we've only had 3 in the county, 3 cases. One of those was a new one. And the other 2 were barns that were repopulated. They had been cleaned out in October, and they put birds back in maybe either a little too quick or didn't have it properly cleaned. And those got reinfested again. So reinfected, I guess is the right word. But yeah.
I thought there was a 6-month.
That's
Time.
only if you take the government's money.
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh.
they can make a decision whether they're going to take, there's an indemnity fee that the USDA will give. But I appreciate the thought you folks are putting into this. This is a good discussion. Thank you.
So from my understanding, yes, the government will pay you one time for the birds if they get the bird flu. Most of the integrators, to my knowledge, are forking out the dough to cover the growers that are raising the birds for that loss. And with them doing that, then they don't have to follow the same standards that the IDEM or the government sets if you take their hand out.
If this started in Iowa, okay, when several years ago when some of the barns got they were going in as quick as they could, repopulating the building, and the next thing you know, the birds got sick, and the USDA had already paid these guys for the death of their birds. Well, then they put in some standards. Okay, if you're going to do this, you have to follow some biosecurity guidelines. And I think most of our companies here are following those now. They're trying to work through those. So yeah, there's a standard, and if you break, you don't get your payment. You don't get that indemnity payment if you break within so many, and they find out that you're not following standards. So I was told that this was from the Board of Animal Health. Folks told me that.
So do we have a direction we want to move, or do you want to take
Yeah.
advice?
no, I'll make a motion here. I'm just working on it. Oh, what you want to go ahead?
I like the 3rd page with the 15 acres and the 1,500 feet. The last page Robbie has presented. Let's see.
The last page?
Yeah.
It doesn't have.
I know, we have to add 15 acres if you want that Ethan recommended. I know, I'm saying, I said Robbie's 3rd page with the addition of Ethan's 15 acres and then switching the 1320 just to 1,500.
If Tyler thinks that you can do it responsibly on 10,
It used to be 10.
Well, let me just, I've got the table out of our UDO. It is page 45 in our UDO. I've got the table pulled up. These are the minimum requirements for an AFO. I'm just gonna go down some of the more popular livestock. Dairy cows, 25, calves, 50, swine above 55. There's no below 55. 100. Buggy horses 30. Chickens 6,000. Now, like Zach said, nobody's going to put up a barn for 6,000 chickens. But you got to keep in mind this is also going to be the minimum for dairy cows or calves, dairy cows. And I don't think anybody's going to put up a barn for 100 pigs, but it could happen. That's just, those are the minimums that make it an AFO.
Yeah.
That make it an AFO. So
I don't think those numbers you read out, I understand that, but I don't see if anybody is putting up buildings for small amount of numbers. It's just not, there's no money in that part of it. You have to go.
have you been to the grocery store lately?
Yeah, well, but they could,
Oh,
if they're growing for
we're gonna
themselves
get
or smaller,
Argentinian
they're gonna fall under those numbers. You know what I'm saying? If you're only raising 5 beef cattle or a few calves, it's but if you're gonna be growing them for money, you want to maximize your investment.
I can tell you what, if you got 25 dairy cows right now, I'll bet in 3 years' time you could make a lot of money. But
So
I guess in my opinion, what I'd like to see would be a minimal lot area of 10.
10.
Back to the way it used to be. I would be okay with 1,500 foot.
Is it minimum setback between barns on neighboring properties?
Yes.
I used 1320 only because it was the least, when I was throwing that stuff out there, but with Jeff's conversation, 1500 sounds like it might be, something that the producers,
Already agreed upon
Yeah.
or fine
Yeah.
tuning.
now what about the setback may be reduced if adjacent property owners agree to a lesser distance in a record copying and
I don't know. I like it taken out. But Robbie has it on the third page. I
Yeah,
don't-
yeah. I see that. It's out, but I'm
So-
asking other I'm asking everybody else.
Goes to the variance process.
Yeah, so that would go to the variance process. Now, you told me the other day when we were talking that you think about 50% of the barns you see
They all have signed letters. correct.
all have signed letters, so that would be cutting into quite a few
What's it-
situations.
What's it cost to go in front of the BZA board? 500?
Or
400?
So hold on.
So if you did not take the user agreements, they'd have to come in for a variance through the BZA board.
correct.
And it costs $400, and then it'd be up to the BZA board whether they get
To
approved or not.
determine whether it's okay.
So the signed user agreements just bypasses the BZA essentially.
Yes, essentially.
So what's this for, Robbie? The reduced setback? How far can they reduce it? Which ones can they reduce?
That is between the barn and a residential structure.
Okay.
500 feet.
Number one, all it has to do with is.
This one applies to this one right here, you say, the minimum setback.
Correct,
Okay. So that 500, 1,000, and 1,500 feet that go across,
correct.
those can be reduced.
Is if the person
Okay.
living in this house signs a letter
okay.
saying they understand they're putting up a barn and they're okay.
That's different. I thought it was other setbacks. It's just for those
It's
ones.
a letter that is recorded in the report.
Yeah, so that could be as close as 100 feet, 50
Is
feet.
your recommendation to keep that in there, Robbie, then?
Yeah, I don't understand why we would want to take it.
Okay. I misunderstood it.
That's just-
I
that's
thought it
my
meant for
opinion
these,
on
I thought it meant for these setbacks. I didn't know it was just for the residential.
Just a residential structure.
That's different. Okay.
So leave that in?
Yeah.
Okay,
My bad.
okay. And then, so 10, okay, and then, a road, improved drive to the manure stack, but no cover on the manure stack.
That's
For
no
an
cover for the
AFO.
AFOs. I'm gonna call Aiden just to ask him a question on how they require them for that. I'm just curious of why cover the CFOs and AFOs if they have a big enough lot place right outside. I'm just curious
That's
why.
fine. That's, that.
But we can keep it out there. We don't have to put it in right now. It's fine.
Okay. Well, I would make a motion that we would hold a public hearing at the next meeting to change the ordinance to include a improvement, a drive to the manure stack, a minimum setback between barns on neighboring properties, 1,500 feet, and 10 acres, minimum front yard setback, 200 for what Robbie's got in yellow on page 4, 200 feet.
The CFO,
Yes, CFO numbers, and leave in the neighbor notification.
So we have to have a public hearing on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we'll listen to the public comment and then we
Absolutely.
can readjust or push it on to the commissioners. And at that point, given,
Lynn, I just want, I know you're making a motion.
Yes,
I do at least want to express a concern
yes,
about when we pass the UDO, in my mind, we restricted some of the ability of landowners on the east side of the county to really not use, but we restricted some of how they can use their land or what they can sell off.
we did.
And then recently, we restricted the ability for people to build barns near S1, L1, U1s. No.
We did.
Robbie, no. We didn't in the UD, we didn't in that amendment.
did we just set up a minimum from town limits?
it's in here. Minimum,
It's town limits.
yeah, it was minimum setback to residency zones.
Zoned, not limits, zoning,
Yeah,
zoning.
Yeah,
Those have always been in.
Yeah.
But we made an amendment to increase the
I believe we increased the distance.
distance.
Yes,
Yeah.
In
yes.
my mind, we restricted some agricultural usage.
Close to towns and density houses that are zoned that way.
Yes, yes, yes. And the action we're looking at now is further restrictions. So I'm recognizing the fact that restriction, and it's kind of a slippery slope that I'm seeing. And that's, you may disagree with it, but I think that's what's happening.
Well, things are changing very quickly and they're concerned to the county. I mean, some of these are brought up by the commissioners who oversee the whole county.
But things aren't changing quickly.
What do you mean not changing quickly?
Well, it's us wanting to change things quickly.
I think we're behind the ball of 20 years, so sometimes we do have to make decisions based on that. I could talk to you after the meeting. I don't want to go over all this stuff in the public meeting, so.
I think that's a valid concern, Shannon. We do have to be careful about
And I
that.
think we'll hear at the public
And, you know,
hearing.
and this isn't etched in stone by any means, because we'll have a public hearing, we'll get public input, then we can.
My,
from there.
my one other concern, and I meant to mention this earlier, the minimum setback between barns. Again, our mind is on, chicken barns at the moment. Is that the minimum distance between a chicken barn next to a hog barn, or how is it any livestock barn?
Between an AFO and
So any livestock barn?
AFO, between AFOs, CFOs, CAFOs. It doesn't say between a chicken and a pork, hog barn or chicken
Correct.
barns.
Can we, this would be a question for Dustin, I suppose. Can we limit it to poultry barns? Or do we want to do that?
Because I've got a lot of cattle barns that aren't on the same property that are within that quarter mile.
So what's your concern?
Future expansion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
future expansion.
I would think future expansion, you know.
You can
they're-
expand.
They're
you can
legal
ex- You can
non-conforming.
expand on that property.
Yeah, but it's not the same property.
How should I say? They're existing. I think you can expand them on their own property. Like you're not adding a new one.
You could add a new barn to a piece of property that already has a barn on.
Correct.
But
Yeah.
you can't add one to a property that doesn't.
You would have to meet the setback.
Because that's what I'm saying. That setback's too big.
So there's, I guess I'll talk to you at the meantime.
Okay, well, that's what I'm gonna propose, that we, is there a second for that motion?
I'll second it.
Okay. Do we need to have does that need to be a roll call, Robbie?
Justin, what do you think? Should it be a
I
roll
don't think
call?
so. We're gonna have to get it all presented at a public hearing.
Correct, so
We're
it would
just,
just
we're
be a
just
voice.
Okay, so
trying to move forward with that.
all in favor of moving forward with those new requirements in the
So let's
UD?
just run over those real quick so
Okay.
everybody understands.
Since we already have this is for an AFO, since we already have a concrete pad with a lip on it as a requirement in the ordinance, we would add improved drive to the manure stack.
Well, it would be CFOs, CAFOs also.
And CFOs, CAFOs, and AFOs.
Would be for animal feeding operations.
Yes,
Would be for all of them.
everything. Cows, turkeys, goats,
Well, I'm
whatever.
talking about an AFO or a CFO or CAF. That would apply to
All three.
Okay, yes, yes. A minimum setback between barns on neighboring properties of 1,500 feet. A minimum lot area of 10 acres for an animal feeding operation. Minimum front yard setback of 200 feet for an animal feeding operation. Minimum side yard setback of 200 feet for a animal feeding operation. Minimum rear yard setback of 200 feet for a animal feeding operation. I think that's it.
We got a motion and a second.
So we'll have a voice vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. So I believe we had two no's right now. Okay. And oh wait, well, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, that's enough one.
That's okay. So that's 5. Okay, so that was enough to move it forward to a public hearing at the next at the next meeting, which will be the March meeting of the Plan Commission. Okay. That we- Sure, go ahead.
I think you might also want to consider farms that are smaller. Maybe those where there's a lot of families, that maybe have 4-H animals and that sort of thing. And you want to study this as you're going through the final steps on this to make sure that it's not going to affect those small, really small operations.
Well, that's kind of reason I read off the numbers earlier off of our table. 4-H animals aren't going to be within this. Like I said, the minimums for an AFO, cows is 25, calves is 50. Hogs,
Confined for a percentage of the year, so.
Right.
For example.
horses are 30, hogs are 100, sheep's 300, turkeys are 1,500, chickens 6,000, laying hens 7,500, ducks
We don't want to
5,000.
affect those animals.
Those are your minimums, absolute minimums for an AFO.
Yeah, so as we're changing things up, when we're talking next month, that's something you want to consider. Keep that in the back of your mind.
Thank you.
I think we allowed chickens in S1 zoning, didn't we?
No.
With neighbors notification.
Yeah, neighbor notification.
Well, neighbor notification, yeah.
So we're trying to help out small growers in town areas.
Yes. Okay. Motion to adjourn?
I got one more thing I want to talk about.
Go for it.
I think I tried to bring it up. Well, I did bring it up. I think it was before the new year. We had mentioned something about NIPSCO, and if we never got any. Is there any way to talk to anybody from NIPSCO? And if we did, would anybody listen?
Yeah, I got 2 guys on my phone I can call.
Could we get them in here at a meeting and
Tomorrow.
tell them about
The housing additions going
Express
next door.
9, Express the housing addition, the generators, REMC, the proposed county highway building. It's the generator out here. I mean, I think we should try.
I agree.
In a recorded meeting. I would like to get somebody from NIPSCO.
I dealt with 50 NIPSCO people. I have 2 that actually were valuable to get something done. I still haven't saved my phone, so.
Well,
I will tell you, the change, I was in Indianapolis for 2 days last week. We were talking to legislatures. They are talking to NIPSCO. NIPSCO, they were having a hearing when I was down there actually, and they're trying to get some answers from them. But NIPSCO is very small in the state of Indiana, by the way.
They are.
Very small.
Just happened to be here.
Duke's the big dude.
There are bills going that went from 300 last year to $1,000 this year.
No, I've seen all about it.
Yeah.
I haven't followed it.
It's insane.
They're well aware
Anyway,
of it.
Motion to adjourn? Is it-
Other than that, I'm done.
Okay, motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Yeah, okay.
I need to talk.
Yeah, where's all that bill money going if they're not gonna expand?
Oh,
How many of most of your beef operations, your poultry, not poultry, your hog operations, CAFO?
They are, because they're right next to each other.
Yeah.